Well, hello there. How are you doing? Happy Monday. What we're going to talk about today? Well, a few things have come up as they always do. If I were to try and respond to all the things that come up on my feed or from my clients and so on and so forth, if I were to respond to all of those things, I would spend my life creating video on social media. And that's not what I do. I'm a coach, I'm a therapist, I'm a counselor, whatever you want to call me. I work with individuals and small teams on all kinds of things from teamwork to mindfulness to positive psychology to cognitive psychology. So there's a whole lot of stuff goes into my work. I'm not giving you all the detail here and now. That's not why I'm here. So why am I here? What's this all about? Well, we're going to be talking today about empathy, and particularly empathy and sensitivity, where we relate to social media content creation and things related to that. And what started this really was, well, I've had comments from my clients before about how they feel awkward sometimes when they see certain things on, let's say, Facebook. I'm not blaming Facebook, but things are posted on Facebook. So they see things that make them feel uncomfortable, awkward, because those things set off a trigger reaction to past memories, past traumas, all kinds of things related to trauma and difficult, challenging memories. So for many of them, they try to avoid social media because of those potential triggers. And that's not really good, is it? Because it means that they don't get to benefit from some of the great things that are out there. So what can we do? What can we do when we're talking about empathy and sensitivity in social media? Let's have a think about it. So there's quite a lot to cover. So I'm not going to try to give you everything right here and now, but let me start where this really started early last week. So somebody said that a particular post was offensive and that it was packed with triggers. The guy in particular found the post quite hurtful and quite damaging. A whole load of negative feelings came up because of the post. In itself, the post wasn't cruel, it wasn't mean, it wasn't intentionally hurting anybody, but yet it did. And this gentleman who commented also found support through his comment because a lot of other people empathized with what he was saying. Several other people had similar experiences, not the same, but similar experiences. Therefore, people knew exactly what he was talking about, and they were saying, hey, we think you're right. And guess what? I think he was right too. He was quite right to stand up. He was very brave to stand up and say what he felt. So this topic has implications for mental health. As I've said already, it has implications relating to empathy. It also has implications for community building because community is powerful. Community is powerful stuff, right? If we have a strong community all around us, we find all kinds of support in that community, and that's a very, very positive and beneficial thing. So today we're going to look at social media content, particularly social media content that's sensitive. So we need to look at sensitive and supportive, how we can support people who have experienced psychological traumas or are dealing with mental health challenges right here, right now, today. One of the things that I know triggers, and I've seen this a million times, well, okay, that might be a bit of a bit of a exaggeration. I've seen this a million times. Maybe I have actually. Think, think positively. Think positively. Think positively. It's known as toxic positivity, where we're told to think positivity at all costs. Forget the negatives, push that to one side, bury it under the carpet, put it under the sofa, sit on it, do whatever you want to do, but think positively at all times. That's called toxic positivity, and it's not positive at all. In fact, it's quite damaging, so we don't want to go down that road. The thing is that, just going back to social media, it's a powerful powerful tool. It's a powerful tool for connection, for expression, for sharing information. It's powerful for all kinds of great things. However, there's always a however, right? It's also a space where people can encounter content that might well be upsetting or triggering, especially, as I said earlier, if they've suffered past psychological traumas. So let's discuss some of the whys about why these posts can be considered distressing, and what I count myself in there, what we as content creators can do to help. So let's begin by trying to understand why some social media posts can indeed be upsetting. Content that acts as triggers does remind people of their traumatic experiences. And this can include graphic descriptions, violent images, emotionally charged narratives. There's a whole load of things it can include. And for someone who's experienced trauma, content like this can and does evoke really intense emotional reactions and even cause distress or flashbacks. So people who suffer from trauma are often in a kind of heightened state of emotional vulnerability. So content that is graphic, that's violent or deeply emotional can resonate deeply with their past experiences. And that can exacerbate feelings of fear, sadness, anger. So it's essential to remember that people who've been through trauma might struggle with feelings of safety and security. So let's think about posts that depict themes of abuse, violence, or loss. That can shape people's sense of stability and trigger fear or helplessness. We can't, as creators, control every reaction. But having said that, we can take steps to be more empathic and more supportive. So let's think about some practical tips. What can we actually do? We can include trigger warnings. So if we know we're going to write about something that's sensitive, that somebody may feel deeply about, we can put a trigger warning at the beginning. Warning, this may trigger feelings of. Simple statement, dead simple. And that's a trigger warning is helpful when we're posting potentially upsetting content. So we need that trigger warning at the beginning, no point putting it at the end. And this gives people the choice to engage or skip the content. We can provide support resources. I, as a counselor, psychologist, coach, mindfulness practitioner, all of those things rolled into one, have support resources that I can provide very, very quickly and very, very easily. But also, if you're not like me, if you work in, I don't know, branding, for example, you can share links or contact information for mental health resources and for support services. We can all do that. We can all share those links. And that's really useful for the people who might feel distressed after viewing your content. We also need to validate emotions. Acknowledge that it's okay to feel negative emotions. It is okay to feel negative emotions. We all feel negative emotions from time to time, and it's actually okay. Okay, if we're feeling them all of the time, then drop me a message. A direct message is best. But if you want to leave a comment in the comments, do that as well. But feeling negative some of the time is actually okay. Posts on social media that validate a range of emotions can actually help people to understand and to feel understood and to feel supported. So if we're sharing personal experiences, I have some personal experiences that are quite difficult. Occasionally I'm triggered by certain things. So I frequently talk about how I have overcome my challenges in the past. That can be difficult for some people. So I'm always clear that one size does not fit all. There is no one size fits all solution for somebody who's encountered, let's say, sexual abuse. It's deeply individual. So don't generalize. That's the point. Everybody's journey is different. And it's okay to seek professional help. In my opinion, it's not okay if you don't seek professional help, if you think you may need it. Seeking professional help is something very, very cool, in fact. You get to work with somebody like me. But also the big thing is that it's entirely confidential. Anybody who works with me never has their story shared with anybody else. It's entirely confidential. It's entirely about you. So let's, as creators, encourage professional help. We network. There are some great business networks out there. I'm a member of several business networks. I encourage people to go to a graphic designer if they need a graphic designer. I know some graphic designers. I have no idea about graphic design, not really. I have a friend who I met today. We talked about video and presenting on video and the things that I do like this right now. That was fantastic because he shared things with me that I just didn't think about. And they weren't rocket science. So remember that there are professionals out there, and we need to encourage people to seek professional help from time to time. And seeking help from mental health professionals is important. It can even be crucial. It can be also a crucial part of the healing process. And we need to create safe spaces. Developing supportive and inclusive communities where people feel safe sharing their experiences and feelings without judgment is, in my opinion, absolutely essential. I was asked to join a psychological, no, that's not the right phrase. I was asked to join a group some years ago because I'd been, as anybody who knows me knows, I'd been quite ill and I'd been through addiction to prescribed medications, all kinds of stuff was going on in my life. And I was encouraged to join a group. I didn't want to join that group. I knew about those groups. I'd run those groups. And I was thinking things like, I don't want to share my vulnerability. I don't want to be judged. I don't want all kinds of things. I don't want. But actually, do you know what? It was the best thing I ever did. No judgment, complete empathy. It was wonderful, and it definitely helped me on the road to recovery. Let's think about language for a minute. Being mindful of our language is really, really important. We need to use language that's sensitive and inclusive. We don't want to use phrases, especially in social media posts, that might come across as dismissive or overly simplistic. So we need to think about our language. We need to promote self-care. We can share tips, we can share practices. You don't need to work in the industry that I work in to do this. You can share tips and practices for self-care and stress management. You can emphasize that it's okay to take time for oneself. Yes, let's share positive and uplifting content. Let's just be careful that we're not getting into the realm of toxic positivity. So we want to balance our content, and we want to balance it with uplifting and positive posts that actually provide hope and comfort. And we want to do that without invalidating anybody's experiences. Do you listen to feedback from your audience? Do you listen to feedback about the sort of confident content they find supportive or triggering? I listen. I listen a lot. I ask questions often. I frequently say in these videos, I'm going to say it right now, if you've got a comment or a question, don't hesitate to send me a direct message. I spend much of my time answering direct messages because they matter. They're very, very important. So don't hesitate. If you've got a direct message, send it. There's no such thing as a bad question unless you didn't ask the question. And that kind of makes it a bad question. You never got an answer. Do ask questions. There's no such thing as a bad question. There really isn't. Asking questions, asking for feedback helps me, and it would help other content creators to tailor the content to be more considerate of people's needs. We want to be involved in the education about mental health. Everybody, regardless of the job they do, can raise awareness about mental health issues. We can help to reduce stigma, and we can help to promote understanding and empathy. Empathy and kindness are very, very important. Be kind, be empathetic towards each other, because this helps to create a community of support and understanding. Let's think about a couple of specific examples. So if we see a social media post with headers like graphic details of violent crime scene or shocking images from natural disaster aftermath, there are clear instances where content warnings are absolutely essential. They're needed. Even posts that seem positive, like, and this reminds me of this is what triggered this particular video event. Happiness is a choice. Choose to be happy today. Not everybody feels good about that. We need to think. Happiness is a choice. Choose to be happy today can be triggering because people might dismiss or feel as though they're having their complex emotions dismissed. So what can we do? Awareness, raise awareness, be empathic, empathetic. Recognize that your audience is diverse, all different, many, many differences. And their experiences with trauma and mental health are varied. Remember what I said, and I often say this in my work, there is no one size fits all. It's true. So if we can incorporate some of the practices that I've mentioned today into things like content creation or even just comments on social media, you can help make social media a safer and more supportive place for everybody. Okay, that's it for today. Did I rant? Did I jump on a soapbox? I hope so, because this matters. It's really important, guys. Remember, if you've got a comment, if you've got a question, leave a comment by all means in the chat. But if you prefer to keep it quiet, keep it private, send a direct message. You'll get a response. Take care. Have a brilliant day. I'll speak to you again really, really soon.